Sector 4 was never meant for human life. From high above, through the thick gray smog, the network of trenches looked like open wounds carved into the skin of the earth. They bled mud and oil, and today they would bleed men. The soldiers simply called this place the meat grinder. Down in the sorrowful depths of Trench Line Alpha, the men of the 9th Platoon huddled together. Their uniforms were heavy with rain and grime, indistinguishable from the clay walls that sheltered them. They were not heroes. They were merely cogs in a machine much larger than themselves. The air was thick with the smell of ozone and diesel fumes. A heavy silence hung over the battlefield. It was a deceptive peace that always came right before the end of the world. Then the signal came. It was not a trumpet or a drum, but a mechanical screech that pierced the heavens. The order was absolute, over the top. In a single synchronized movement, thousands of tiny figures surged upward. From the sky, they looked like a colony of ants swarming out of a disturbed nest. They threw themselves into no man's land, a desolate stretch of craters and barbed wire. The silence was shattered instantly. The ground erupted. Artillery shells bloomed like terrible fiery flowers across the gray landscape. Every explosion sent plumes of dark earth into the sky, swallowing entire squads in an instant. The 9th Platoon pushed forward, slipping and sliding in the toxic mud. They fired their rifles, tiny flashes of light in the dim afternoon. But their enemy was dug in deep. The opposing trench line sparkled with the rapid staccato of machine gun fire. It was a massacre, but the true horror had not yet arrived. From the fog on the northern ridge, the ground began to tremble. Heavy, rhythmic thuds echoed across the valley. The enemy had deployed the Iron Walkers. 3 massive mechanical beasts emerged from the smoke. They stood 30 feet tall, their steel legs crushing rocks and barbed wire effortlessly. Pistons hissed, and gears ground together with a sound like screaming metal. The lead walker lowered its primary cannon. A stream of liquid fire sprayed across the battlefield, turning the mud into glass and the soldiers into ash. The advance of the 9th Platoon halted. They were trapped. To move forward was suicide. To retreat was treason. They took cover in the shell craters, pinned down by the relentless heat of the mechanical monsters. It seemed that Sector 4 would claim them all, just as it had claimed thousands before. But the 9th was not alone. From the rear lines, a deep horn blasted, vibrating through the chests of every soldier. The ground shook violently, not with the rhythm of the enemy walkers, but with the thunderous charge of our own heavy armor. The siege breaker had arrived. It was a tank the size of a fortress, moving on 4 colossal treads. Its turret rotated with agonizing slowness. The enemy walkers turned their focus to this new threat, their cannons blazing. Sparks flew like fireworks as rounds deflected off the siege breaker's thick plating. The tank fired. A single blinding beam of blue energy cut through the gloom. It struck the lead enemy walker squarely in its ammunition core. For a brief second, a miniature sun ignited in the center of the battlefield, blinding and beautiful. The shockwave knocked the tiny soldiers flat against the mud. The balance of power shifted. With their leader destroyed, the remaining enemy machines faltered. The soldiers of the 9th Platoon rose from the mud, their morale ignited by the burning wreckage of the fallen giant. They charged again, their war cries lost in the wind, swarming the enemy trenches under the cover of the siege breaker's iron shadow. Hours later, the sun began to set, casting a blood-red glow over Sector 4. The noise of battle faded into a low hum. Smoke drifted lazily over the scarred landscape. The trenches had changed hands, but the landscape remained the same broken mess of crater and wire. From up here, The victors and the fallen looked exactly the same. They were just motionless specks on a vast, indifferent board. The Siegebreaker sat silent, cooling its engines, a dormant beast waiting for the next command. The war would continue tomorrow. But for tonight, the grinder had been fed. The silence returned to Sector 4.